the mirror cut here. I think I overdid it a little bit on the previous Legend of Zelda episode. My Fear the Mirror introduction. Never mind. So yes, welcome to the 30th episode. Oh man, in a way, I can't wait to get this finished. In a way, it's fun to be doing this, you know, but in a way, it has been going on for a very long time, and I would like to be playing a different game. But, if it helps, I don't think it's going to take 60 episodes. I think it would take less than that. So that's got to be good. A quick word on editing, I guess. There's a couple of things where I've cut out, big mistakes I've made, though I've mainly kept those in, and there's a couple of times where I've just skipped over something for timing reasons, but mostly I've just kept this episode intact as it was. My strategy guide was not very helpful here. It took me a long time to work out which floor it was referring to. It would have been nice if it had said go up to the 3rd floor or go up to the top of the water, but it didn't. I suppose though that writing a strategy guide as opposed to doing a let's play for this game must be hard, because you need to explain the water levels, and there's so many different doors for you to go through and things like that, so yeah, I would imagine it's hard. It has three floors, and the biggest one is it's overcomplicated, and the 2nd floor is the music, and the 3rd floor is having to change boots so often. Nah, I'm referring to physical floors really, not things that's wrong with it. I won't have to explain that joke, that was incredibly obscure and not at all funny. I don't know why I bothered. Anyway, yes, this is a very annoying room. I didn't like playing through this room at all. As you can see, it's very hard to fall off one of these, and you have to make sure you're going to the right one or you'll just fall off. As you can see there, you can't really pull yourself on top of one of them. You just slip down, so you need to make sure you're slipping down onto another one that's below you. Or Link will sort of abseil down, which seems a bit pointless since he then falls into a giant pit and disappears. So why not, why have him abseil down rather than just having him fall down? I don't know, seems pointless. Anyway, I've cut some of this out because it got boring to watch. If you're playing along with this, I don't know why I'm so tired. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Anyway, if you're playing along, just watch what I do. I don't know how Navi knows that there's something there, like some sort of secret switch or something. Guess it doesn't matter that much. Actually, if you hit it again, I think it sends out some rupees and maybe a couple of other things like arrows, but I really couldn't be bothered. So that's why I tried straight that one there, but it wasn't worth risking falling down again, because this took a lot longer than I've actually demonstrated to you, so there you go. I don't know what these statues are. I mean, it's possible that these statues are whatever the Zora's use this temple to worship. I mean, we know now they worship Jabu Jabu, but he's outside and he's clearly a fish, and these statues are obviously not statues of him or her or it. I don't know. So, I would imagine the Zoras in the past worshipped some sort of water snake or something like that. Maybe it's even meant to be Morpha. I don't know. Morph was the boss of this dungeon. Reminds me a little bit of a swimming pool with these, all of these blue tiles and the water. Obviously that's what this dungeon is kind of like, a giant swimming pool. So this is obviously slightly later than I would like. I normally like to try to get these in once every 8 days. In fact, ideally once every 5 days, but that can't always be the case. It depends on how busy I am during the week. By the way, you can get to those pots, which you'll be able to see in a minute by jumping onto sort of long-shotting onto this section, but you can't really get round that statue. So that's not really the way you need to go. And so I would advise you to avoid that if you're playing this now but have never played it before. So you can briefly see the pots there, and you can get to them, but that's it. And I didn't bother, because you don't really need rupees at this point, and I had plenty of everything else. It's actually quite annoying getting the long shot in the right place for this. Oh yeah, so yes, I know this is late, and I apologise for that. Normally I get a lot of recording done on Sundays, but I was very busy on Sunday night, because I was out on Sunday night, and so I didn't have time to get things done. See, there's nothing really useful in these pots. I don't know why I bothered to do that, because I already have enough magic power. Now this is actually one of the very few reasons to why I find this dungeon tolerable, and that's that this is a pretty nice mini boss fight. Although it is actually a lot harder than the actual boss fight. I've heard that you can see Link's shadow on the water, although I've failed to spot it myself. But people can say that you can sort of see Dark Link kind of forming underneath him in the water. One interesting aspect of this fight is that when you hit Dark Link and succeed in hurting him, he sort of falls down underneath the water for a moment rather than just falling onto it and dying. And the thing about Dark Link is he copies your movements exactly. There's a game called Crash Bandicoot 2 Entranced, which is for the Nintendo Color Game Boy, which has quite a similar fight to this, in that you're basically facing something that's identical to you, called Fake Crash, that also copies your movements, and this fight is a little like it, although the setting is very different. Now, I'm not a theorist, a game theorist. You may or may not have gotten that joke. But on this particular occasion, I am going to game theorise a bit, just because I find Dark Link quite interesting. So yeah, I'm sure someone else has already come up with what I'm about to say, so I'm not claiming that I'm the first person to have thought of this, and I've probably just read this somewhere and then forgotten where. So yeah, I'm not claiming that I'm the first person to come up with this idea, but it seems to me that Dark Link is probably some aspect of Link's mind. After all, Link didn't ask to be lied about being a Hyrulean. He was told that he was a Kukui, and he wasn't. And he didn't ask to be sort of bullied about not having fairy either. See, this is an interesting thing. This room is the place he was just in was just imaginary. This is what the actual room looks like, and yeah, I'll come back to that in a second. But yeah, he didn't ask for that. He didn't ask for his childhood to be sort of stolen when he became the hero of time. I mean, it has. It's been those years have been taken from him. You know, it's not like, you know, cool, I'm an adult now. He's paid a big price for this. So there's probably some part of his mind that's angry about that. And so if Dark Link is sort of like some small section of his mind that's angry about that, which he then has to conquer. And it's interesting as well that there's a tree there. Let's imagine that room is all in his mind, and let's imagine that sea is sort of representing this tranquil sea of his mind, and just this little dark bit of him that's different still remains. Okay, I was thinking maybe I'm reading too much into it, but is the Deku tree that sent him on this mission, and the only feature in that room is an actual tree, so perhaps it represents the Deku tree, which is the thing that sent him on this quest that he's now resenting. Another thought that I have, again maybe a bit of a stretch, but I don't think Ganondorf put Dark Link there. I think maybe he designed a room that would show someone that would sort of show someone what the inside of their mind looks like. But I think that Dark Link is just there as part of Link's mind, because it seems to me that Ganondorf wouldn't have put part of Link in there. He would have put just a normal mini-boss in there. You know, how would Ganondorf have created a part of Link's mind if it had been someone other than Link who had gone in there? He wouldn't have seen Dark Link, whereas if it had been someone other than Link who had gone to face Volvagia, for example, then it would have still been Volvagia. So that's my evidence for that. And we're also, so that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I mean, maybe it was all nonsense, it's just thoughts that I've had. It's very hard to get away from these whirlpools. You can manage to do it, but it's not easy. But it is the only way that I found to get through this section. With the other bits, you sort of have to move from one long shot pillar type thing sticking out of the water to the other, but at the end I don't know if there's any other way to do it other than jumping off the pillar and swimming away from the whirlpool. And that second section, that sort of underground cave, is actually the only other bit of this dungeon that I really liked. I think that's a section that's sort of different to the rest, and it just seems more interesting to me, maybe because it doesn't have anything to do with changing the water level, and it's very sort of linear and straightforward. You obviously just need to move from one hook-shottable pillar to the next. I also find it weird that this building has a cave inside it. That's just a bit strange. You can clearly see that the statue, whatever it's of, is of a snake. So, I don't know what type of thing it is. It's just a snake. I don't know why I didn't just switch to normal boots here. That would have made things much faster. I'm not even sure why they bothered putting that hook-shottable thing in there. I'm also not sure why those 3 small crates are on there. Normally, if there were small crates like that, you're supposed to put them on some sort of switch. But there is no switch, and I'm pretty certain as soon as you got them into the water, you won't be able to carry them anymore. So I have no idea why they're there. See, that's why to do it, you just use boots. Of course it won't work on there because you would go too far upwards in the water, but there are some sections where it works. I suppose the reason I'm not a game theorist is that I'm just not very good at it. If you're wondering, if you're concerned, we are actually very close at the end of this episode to the boss and to finally finish this dungeon, which I am looking forward to. As I say, I'm not going to take a break from this game, but I am getting a tad of it now, and having over an hour of footage per dungeon is a bit much, I think. I don't want to cut any bits out that don't really need to be cut out, but I'll admit the dungeons do seem to drag on a bit, particularly this one. It's a very ornate box that, if someone was looking. Personally, I would have hidden the boss key if I didn't want someone to beat my dungeon and basically beat me, win against me. I would hide the key in somewhere which wasn't ornate and very easy to spot and very obvious. But it's always annoying when you get to that point in a game where you press the Z target button to look forwards and it just makes you look at the wall behind you instead, because that's just the direction you're facing. But that's one of the weaknesses of games of this era, I think. 3D games of this era tended to do that. It's just a bit annoying. Fortunately, I managed to keep this episode somehow to under 25 minutes. I could actually just go for the boss now that I have the key, but I decided not to because I wanted to show off the other gold sculptures that you can get here. I'm not going to get all 100 gold sculptures because I really can't be bothered. That's the truth. But I'm going to try to get 50 of them, because when you get 50 of them you get the penultimate sort of thing that you'll get for breaking the curse. It's not as useful as the Giant's Wallet, but it's still a fairly good thing, or at least it's a fairly interesting thing, I suppose. And I guess I should just show off the fact that you can get it, and then there's a big gap where you need to get 100 to get the final thing, which isn't that useful, but is again, I suppose, slightly interesting. I'm not really sure why they did it that way, why they didn't sort of spread it out. Perhaps they wanted getting 100 to be a thing you did, not to be able to get some kind of prize, but just for kind of completionists to say, hey, I managed to get this many. You don't really need to go in this room. Perhaps I should have mentioned that before, but this is just room for breaking crates and pots and things like that so you could get free stuff. And so I thought I might as well show it off so you'll know where to get free things from if you want, but it's not something you actually need. This is why you actually need to know. This is a bit where you need the Scarecrow's song. It is pretty useful in this dungeon. So I would recommend that you have it at this point. In case I haven't mentioned it before, write it down. It is very, very helpful if you write Scarecrow's song down. Thanks, Pierre. Make sure you go for this place where you can go down, and don't go through the door to the right yet. It's not that there's nothing there, it's just that you don't need to go in there yet. I think we're coming up to the end of this episode. In the next episode we will finally get the last couple of gold sculptures, and then finally face Mortha, and I will see you next time.